guys, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with the book Supertraining or not, but it's probably one of the best books, that is just a comprehensive understanding of the most high-level sports science research. Verkhoshansky was the head of the Russian sports science, science department, or whatever you want to call it, for the Olympics in Russia and for the government. Mel Sif was the guy from South Africa, and this book is a huge, thick book like this big, and basically it has all this research on plyometrics and everything that you ever wanted to know about strength and conditioning for athletes. But this is an excerpt from this, which I put down here at the bottom. These types of research project, which I love how there's actually not an S in the book because these guys are, South African and Russian, they didn't add the S. These types of research project are not very numerous and have a number of deficiencies. Firstly, they are carried out with athletes of low qualification. Secondly, in many cases, there is a tendency to deliberately favor the method which is fashionable, such as eccentrics, cross-training, or circuit training. Therefore, to speak of anything definitive in terms of effectiveness of any regime or combination of regimes is premature. One can only closely examine the state of this problem and draw preliminary conclusions. From more recent regimes of muscular work used for strength development, two of them should be considered: isokinetic and static dynamic. Right, which you guys can look up more on the static dynamic stuff as well, which is basically this idea of going from a static position to dynamic, like we were talking about with starting strength and accelerating strength, right? So number one out of here, you take away and you go, okay, well, right, this is an evaluation-based protocol idea, right? We are going to examine the state of this problem and draw some preliminary conclusions, right? We're not going to jump to these huge absolute conclusions even after we've evaluated the situation, because we know the situation is going to change, which is one of the best parts about operating in the real world and not in the academic research world, and that's one of the biggest things you have to overcome when you're going through the process of becoming a practitioner in this field. Right, is that when you read the research from the scientists, it doesn't always have this real practical, application, right? And the fields that we're in are applied sciences, right? They're not science. It's not gravity. We are using the understanding of gravity and taking it and applying it in the science that we use. And one of the reasons why I hit this home is because, with COVID and all this stuff, we're hearing so much negativity about the healthcare system, right? But the healthcare system is applied science. It's not science, right? We don't know for a fact every time that we do something that 100% of the time that it's going to work. There's nothing like that in medicine. There's nothing like that in healthcare. There's nothing like that in fitness or performance or anything, right? It's our ability as becoming these practitioners of choice to use our unique body of knowledge in any of these situations to determine what the best course is to move forward. And one of these other terms that we're seeing here all the time nowadays is this idea of impostor syndrome. And I think that it comes from this scientific research-based thinking where you have to get into this absolute idea instead of becoming this really good practitioner that shows up to every situation with this assessment evaluation-based skill set that you're going to be able to manage any situation that you come into with confidence because your evaluation skills are good, and then that allows you to basically over time enhance the experiences that you're having, so the experience that you're getting only becomes better and better over time, instead of this kind of microwave reductionist type of thinking that we have now, where it's like, I just need to find the magic pill. I just need to find the silver bullet, right? If you just give me this one training system, then it's going to fix everything. And unfortunately, that's the way that things are sold, and the way that people buy into a lot of these programs is that it's just going to fix everything for you. And it's just not the truth. You end up going from one program to the next, and hopefully over time you finally realize that it's really about your ability to evaluate. And that was the reason why I put this slide up here, because these are the best guys in the world saying, hey, hold on a second, right? There's nothing to speak of that's definitive in terms of effectiveness of any regime or combination of regimes. And if you're doing this, you're acting in a premature manner, which I just thought that this was awesome and wanted you guys to get exposure to that.